Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And we are back with our spiritual mentor, our friend, and of course, Suzanne Fensin joining us. She's a soul blueprint illuminator, author, and so much more. Living in Gilroy, California, where she's from, but she can work with you anywhere around the world. Would you mind saying hello to your audience today?
Hello, audience.
Yay! Suzanne is back here, and she's got some great energy here for the holiday season. I know spirituality is going to be our topic, but to start, for new people tuning in today to the show or the Zoomcast, please introduce yourself.
Hey, I am Suzanne Fensin, and I have been a life coach for over 20 years. I am a soul blueprint illuminator and a spiritual mentor. And I am passionate about assisting purpose seekers break through the challenges of feeling lost and confused and frustrated at not knowing or being able to achieve their soul mission. So I provide coaching services that provide quick and empowering results.
Beautiful. Well, we're excited to have you here. And speaking of spirituality, I know that's really the topic for today's show, which I think is important to all of us because, let me ask you, how would you describe spirituality to begin with? What's the definition, could you say? And let's talk about it. And then, how can we sometimes become spiritually disconnected? So what is spirituality? Let's start there.
Well, I know a lot of people confuse spirituality with religion, and religion is really a belief system that falls within spirituality. So I see spirituality as kind of the umbrella. If I was to define it, I would say that spirituality is self-actualization and the experience of oneness or being connected to all that is. And it allows you to have a feeling of peace and harmony within you, and allows you to know your place in the universe. We're so much bigger than what we give ourselves credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And spirituality is also attaining that self-actualization or striving to be a better person or use your gifts in the highest way possible, which leads to inner peace and fulfillment.
Yeah.
So, and it is a process of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And that process then leads you, it keeps you, wanting to learn more. And another way of looking at it would be, it is your hero's journey or your path to enlightenment.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. Now, some people are on different spiritual paths, right? They believe in different things. But can I ask you this, and just your opinion? I'm Catholic. Doesn't matter to me. I have friends who are Jewish. I don't care. And I know there's other religions around the world that all believe different things. Just when you're in with your career, what you do, are we all going to the same place?
Oh, of course.
Okay, because some people I think they go elsewhere and there's different things, but it's all one, no matter what we believe. There's only
Of
one.
course.
Okay, okay, good. Just want to make sure. I had a friend.
We all go in different
debate this.
We take different avenues, but
okay. Now let's keep on the spiritual connection and be connected, but some of us kind of become disconnected from that. How is that? What happens in our lives that can affect that disconnect in a sense?
Yeah. Spiritual disconnection is, I think all of us experience it at some point in our lives. Some of us, a good portion of us, are probably spiritually disconnected by the time we're born, because our parents are carrying these genes, DNA of having been disconnected through their life experiences. And so if they are already disconnected, then when you're born, you are somewhat disconnected. But they begin to teach you the conditioning and the thinking and the acting that they know. And so they carry it on for another generation. And when they're not in their hearts, because when you're spiritually disconnected, you're not fully in your heart, you can't see clearly or give constructive feedback. And so I come from a family where children would be seen and not heard. And that's how they learn through generations and generations. And that was very disempowering. And I know many other people who have experienced the same thing. So that's one example. And then we have generational disconnection I don't think there's anybody on the planet who hasn't got something in their DNA that is a reminder of a natural disaster or a war or some kind of poverty that has disconnected them as they went into survival mode. So we're carrying that with us also. And so sometimes we're like disconnected. We don't even know, we don't know that we are, and we don't know how it happened. And it may not be something in your lifetime, but you're carrying it with you. It's there. And then we also have cultural and ethnic, religious disconnections, not allowing you to speak your truth, conforming, even region by region, we have belief systems that may disconnect us from spirituality. So it's kind of it's kind of like being aware of all those things helps you to get back to center.
Yeah.
If you're not aware of it, then you don't know what the problem is, and you just keep going the same way you have been.
Yeah. Well, awesome. We're excited to have you here. And by the way, just want to point out your website again is Suzanne Fensin. I don't think I established that off the top. SUZANNEFESIN, right? .com.
Yes.
And do you have a contact number as well before we continue?
It's here. You could leave a message at 408-843-8953.
Great. And, would you say there's consequences in a sense about really being spiritually disconnected? And when you say consequences, what exactly are we talking about here? Tell us. Uh-oh, is it like a karma thing? What is it? I'm feeling it.
It's actually a day-to-day experiences that we have. So many of us are locked up in fear and anxiety. That's a consequence because we're not connecting to that spiritual beingness of who we really are. We could have lack of trust in the future.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us are going through that.
Yeah.
Greater need to control ourselves and others, as well as outcomes due to that lack of trust. Depression and hopelessness comes along from not being connected, not being able to see the larger spiritual context of what's going on in the world, losing sight of what you truly are capable of. And of course, I work with a lot of that with my clients. They just see how amazing they really are.
Yeah.
Having no sense of purpose or meaning in life, that is also a consequence. Feeling alone, and we are never alone. Oh my goodness, we have a whole team of spiritual beings surrounding us 24/7.
Yeah.
And they're there to support us and help us. And all we need to do is ask.
Mm-hmm.
Not connected. If you don't understand your spiritual connection, then you're not going to be doing that. And you're going to continue to feel alone.
Wow.
And then that can bring along low self-esteem and relationship difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Protective patterns causing hurt to others also comes up. And then looking externally for answers instead of internally, because all of our answers are within us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So those are the ones that I've thought about.
And is there certain stages that you go through of spiritual development? And can we all grow on this path if we stick to it? Can everyone really connect? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, let's hear. When we talk about the stages of spiritual development, there's let me see, there's 7 stages. So the first stage would be that magical stage when you're a baby. Oh my gosh, and you see and feel your environment around you. I don't know if you've ever met a baby for the first time and their eyes are just big and bright and they're just like looking at you, but they're not looking at you, they're looking through you. They're looking at whatever's around you. Babies are so connected spiritually that they can see those beings around you and they can see the light around you and they're just fascinated by it. And animals are the same way. I don't know if you've met people who animals just love them.
Yeah.
They just automatically just went to them. And other people, the animals ran away from them. So that's that magical stage that you come into the world with. And then the second stage would be the family faith stage, where you are invited into that family tradition, whether it's a weekly tradition or a
Yeah.
monthly or a yearly, whatever, that families partake in, you're part of that. You become a part of that. So and then there's a reason for this, is to experience what your family is experiencing, to understand at a higher level where some of these traditions come from and the reasons for them. And then from that, then you step into the questioning phase, which is where you begin to maybe reject or turn away from your childhood family traditions. There may be, you may have experienced some painful situations, or maybe it's simply a stage of your developmental separation from the family. This is when we see teenagers start wanting to do things different from their families, and
Mm-hmm.
parents can't quite understand it. And so there's a little bit of friction there, but this is a natural stage of the spiritual evolving of the individual. Then from that stage, as you question, then you want to just kind of like separate yourself from everything, and you don't want to do anything, and you just want to kind of like go into the void and reject whatever comes up. So that is part of the stages also. And then the fifth stage would be the discomfort stage. Now, this is the big dark night of the soul. A lot of people get caught in this stage because it can be very painful. And this is why a lot of people don't want to do the spiritual work
Okay.
to get to clear and transmute what's going on inside, because they know it's going to be painful. But, we really do have to do that work. So in this stage, you could experience the pain, you could experience suffering, you could experience loss of loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
There could be job transitions, health crisis. You could feel depressed or anxiety and feeling lost. And what I would like to say to people at this stage is, this stage is there purposely so that you can work through whatever it is that's holding you back from being all that you can be, from being
Mm-hmm.
that the person that you came in to be, and actualizing that purpose that you're here for. And just on the other side, just on the very other side, so don't give up, because just on the other side of this is the exploration phase, where you step out of that darkness and the pain
Mm-hmm.
and the suffering, and you start becoming who you were meant to be. And so this is where you begin exploring other traditions. Um, and then that leads you into that seventh stage, which is the universal stage, or the reconnection stage, where you actually integrate wisdom from that exploration stage into a unique spiritual path that continues to evolve and expand. And at this point, you can create something completely different that works uniquely for you, or you could step into perhaps another religious belief or tradition that works best for
Mm-hmm.
you. So and we're seeing that more and more now. People are moving from one tradition to another in questioning and seeing what works, trying on something different for them.
Wow, that is true. And by the way, want to point out that we're here live on the show, and we're still talking to Suzanne Fensin. If you're just tuning in now, she's a soul print illuminator, blueprint illuminator, excuse me. She's an author, she's a spiritual mentor, and so much more. And she can help you if you go to the website, SuzanneFensin.com, SuzanneFensin. And she's really here to help. She says purpose seekers, right? Become, well, more aware of their consciousness, more aware of themselves, and to overall live a better life. And that's what it comes down to. You're here to help people with that inner work and to really change their lives into what it could be, because anyone can have anything they want. Mindset, manifestation, right? If you work hard enough at it, right? I mean, it's not about like, oh, I want $1 million, but when it comes to life, about happiness, things around you, you can really manifest and bring that to light. So I just want to point that out. Suzanne's here live talking to us again. That's our contact information. And again, today we're still continuing to talk about spirituality in a sense. And I'll let you take that back, but because we don't have a break when we're on Zoom, we still have to talk about it. We got to promote you because people tune in at different times.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, I had so
What,
many
yeah,
things
what other
to
false
say about
beliefs
it.
of
Oh my gosh. So,
spirituality?
yeah, so there's false beliefs about spiritual connection. So I'll just kind of briefly go over those because I hear it all the time, and I want you to um, take note of them and determine how many of them actually relate to you, and if you say any of these things to yourself. So the first one would be spirit wants to control me. Another one would be spirit judges me. Spirit expects me to be perfect. Spirit will go away if I make a mistake or mess up. Um, I need to do certain things to be loved by a spiritual connection. I'm afraid if I get too close to my spiritual connection, it will abandon me. I'm afraid I'll let down or be betrayed by my spiritual connections. Be let down, sorry. I'm afraid I won't be able to connect. I don't believe there's anything to connect with, and spirit is too busy for me. So I have a little story. I just had a friend who was admitted to the hospital in an emergency situation. And once she got out, I asked her how she felt, and she said, well, it's pretty obvious to me now that we are born alone and we die alone. And I thought that was very sad. But then I stopped and I realized that so much of her life, she's a very, very intuitive person. She's a very powerful healer, but she doesn't allow herself to go there. And part of the reason was at a very early age, she was in a tradition, a very, very controlling tradition in her family, and it cut her off from her spirituality completely because anything that was not considered normal was shut down. And so her being very intuitive, that wasn't considered a normal thing, so they just shut her down. And so later on in years, she just wasn't able to connect because she had all these fears. I mean, just about every one of these that I just mentioned, she had these beliefs. And here she is. We see all of her friends, we all see this amazing group of guides and angels and mentors all around her. She won't accept it. And she has one very large, beautiful guide that stands behind her and follows her everywhere she is, and just all he wants is to connect with her, and she won't do it because she's afraid of what all this means. And so I say I share that story because I don't want other people to have this same experience, because there is so much wisdom and love, the unconditional love that the beings that are there for you have for you. It's just there's no I can't even I can't even explain it. It's so amazing. So, open yourself up, go into that spiritual connection, and you'll be surprised at how amazing your life will be.
I love it. We all could use a little bit of that in our lives for sure, right?
Yes. Oh
Look, because
my goodness.
but we have the holidays here upon us, and then it becomes the whole New Year's resolution thing that nobody sticks to. But it's deeper than that. It's
Oh,
everyone.
definitely.
What do you say about people who make New Year's resolutions? They're the ones that are not really connected to the spirituality throughout the year to try to really make it happen. Or how, do you believe in New Year's resolutions, or is
You
that
know,
just?
it's kind of funny because some people who do the resolutions, they do it really well,
Mhm.
but most of us kind of forget and they fall by the wayside. I don't do resolutions simply because life is so transitory. Every day is different. So if you set a goal that is maybe outside of the realm of where you are right now,
Yeah.
you more than likely aren't going to achieve that goal. And then you're
Hmm.
going to, maybe beat yourself up over it, or maybe just ignore the whole thing. Um, so there are people who are very good at making resolutions, and there are others who just aren't. And so there's kind of a relation there to the connection to spiritual
Yeah.
self. Yeah.
All right, good. Just want to make sure. And let me also
That's
now
it.
remind everyone. Well, no, there's more. I don't believe in New Year's resolutions because I feel like they always fail. I think you should be doing it day in and day out. And, now we're getting closer. Start now. If you really something you want, and I know it's a lot of weight loss, it's a lot of start now. Don't make excuses because it's there's statistics out there. It was
Yeah.
on the news this morning, so it's stuck in my head about how like 70 something percent of it people fail their New Year's resolutions. It's about a mindset they need to accomplish way ahead of the holidays or get it before the holidays. And that's why the gyms all have those sales and specials, because they know you're not going to be coming in and their gyms aren't going to be crowded. So you can do the buy one, get one free promotion. Yes, because that free person's not coming or something like that. Anyway, all right. All right. So in order for us to really start connecting, and it's a great time now around the holidays, any more advice and guidance on these steps that we could do to work towards it and to continue and to stick with it?
Yeah, and this is a perfect time to start doing it too, because it usually takes about 30 days for you to develop a practice and practice that practice for it to actually sink in with your energetic connection. So you're much more likely to have those positive manifestations once you go through the process. So that process would be to develop a strategy to reconnect your spiritual self. And to reconnect with your spiritual self, you'll want to develop that strategy that'll change your daily behavior. Now, this takes commitment, and a lot of us, some of the reasons why we don't achieve those resolutions is because we don't have the commitment behind us. We okay, well, I'm going to lose 30 pounds or whatever it is. But what are you committing to? Do you know what are the pieces
Yeah.
that are involved in this?
Mm-hmm.
So true spirituality is reflected in the way that we experience reality and how we choose to live. So there's a choice here. Are you making a resolution to
Or
do something that's different than what you really are all about? So your spiritual strategy will create positive change to the extent of changing daily behaviors and your ability to express them. So, and again, if you don't put into place a daily behavior, you're not going to change the behavior. It's just not going to work because you're not practicing it. And spiritual practice is just that: practice, practice, practice. Action speaks louder than words. Think about what kind of contribution do you want to make in the world. So thinking about things, and I'll give you a couple of questions that you can ask to clarify the statement, but you'll want to write down a statement. You're going to want to create something that's uniquely yours. This would be a strategy statement of how you're going to connect and stay connected to that spirit. Write it down and put it where you'll see it every day. Take it with you if you need to take a peek at it during the day, just to remind yourself. But you're going to want to write it down. And then once you have the practices within this statement, then you're going to want to practice it every single day for at least 30 days. Okay. So here's some questions that you can answer to help clarify that statement. The first one is determine what you want. How do you want to live, behave, and think? And then what do you want to see as your spiritual path? What will your path do for yourself and for others? So you're not just doing this for yourself, you're doing it for the people around you. Do you want to incorporate self-awareness, self-examination, and self-development in your statement? Do you want to leave this world a better place? Do you want to be an example to others? And then the big question is why? Why do you want to do this? So there are 5 practices that are going to help you create your strategy and practice for 30 days. So what you're going to want to incorporate is, number 1, forgiveness. It takes strength to let go of baggage and truly forgive. So sit with yourself for a few minutes each day and scan your emotions for negativity. If you find that negativity, examine it and then dig deeper to get to the root of it, and then flood it with forgiveness.
wow.
Number 2 would be meditation to quiet
Okay.
your chattering mind. And breath work, remember, breath work helps there.
Yeah.
Number 3 is spend time in nature.
And grounding. What about the whole thing with your
Yes,
feet on the ground too? That says something, right? Mm-hmm.
definitely. Because our bodies were designed to be in nature using all of our senses, connecting to our natural environment. And with the electronic age, we're more connected to our devices than anything else. So we've disconnected there. So we need to get back to that connection. Number 4 is contribution. When you give of yourself, I should say, you receive a big payoff.
Yeah.
So your internal sense of goodness is the foundation of your joy of living.
Yeah.
Your inner peace and self-esteem expands when you share part of yourself with others, and it feels so good. And then the last one would be self-acceptance. This would be to love others. You must first love yourself. So welcome those emotions that come up freely. Be kind to yourself and release self-doubt and criticism each day. It helps to embrace your perceived faults so that you can learn and grow past them.
Wow.
So those are those 5 practices that you can do for 30 days.
Wow.
Should help.
All right. And by the way, some people say we don't have time for meditation. Isn't it true we can meditate? It could take just a few minutes each day. That was always my thing. And then I learned you didn't need a half hour, because I was like, I don't have a half hour, but right?
Oh, the whole sitting in the Zen position and homing and all that stuff. That doesn't work for me either. What I discovered is when I go for my walk in the morning, I'm meditating during my walk. And I have some most amazing things come up when I'm walking. I mean, when people are doing artistic things or creative things, dance, music, meditation comes through that. It's just not what we've been told it should look like. Everyone different way that it comes through as meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's exciting to talk to you. We all learned a little bit about spirituality today and how we can stay spiritually connected. Don't disconnect. Any other advice you want to share? We still got 2 minutes left. Go for it.
Well, now that it's the holiday season, we're all dealing with certain stressors that maybe don't come up other times of the year. But when you're dealing with situations that come at you, that trigger you, take some time, take a breath, step back, and just look at the situation. Don't react. Just look at it, go within, and try and see where that trigger is and what's causing it. Because there's something in you that's triggering, and it's not about the other person. It's about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I would say all about us. Look internally, not externally.
Got it. Well, thank you. If we want to reach out to you directly, would you mind sharing all forms of contact, please?
Oh, sure. Okay, so you can contact me at SuzanneFensin.com. And if you join my email list, I am offering a free gift of a mini reading on your goals and whatnot. So that's fun. And then I am on all medias, social media of, I get Facebook, Instagram, Alignable, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, just pop in and say hello or ask me a question. I'm happy to help.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Looking forward to our next conversation. And thank you again for being here. And I got a lot to think about too. So I hope our listeners walk away with this as well. SuzanneFensin.com. We'll talk again, hopefully next week. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you again for being here.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.